Hello again guys, in this lecture we'll take a quick overview of the tools and resources available or useful for this course. So first off, you might be interested to check that the whole source code for this course is available on GitHub. Sometimes you can also download the lectures and the code under each individual lecture when it is required. So you can find it inside the course on the resources available button, but also the links are available. So you can click and go to the GitHub and see the individual lectures with all the changes. So you can see what changed on the particular lecture. So this repository, this address is for the modern PHP introduction. The next one covers the API platform and Symfony 4. And then final is the repository about the React and Redux applications. So you can also check the source code here and go into each individual commit that relates to a particular lecture. So about the software, so for the database management, I recommend you to download the SQLite Studio because throughout this course we'll be using the SQLite database, and I'm doing this just for the simplicity. So everyone can just have the PHP installed very easily and use the SQLite database, which doesn't really require any server to run on your machine. It just requires that you have PHP with the SQLite extension enabled, which I show you how to do inside the lectures about installing PHP. So if you prefer, you can of course use MySQL or any other software. So you can use XAMPP, for example. It's totally up to you. Next, we have the PHP Storm, which is the recommended editor for the PHP. It's very advanced, but unfortunately you have to pay for it. But there is a 30-day free trial available, so you can download it and use it for free if you can make it in 30 days. So the next tool would be the Postman, which is used for testing our APIs. So I highly recommend Postman. It is the de facto standard for testing your APIs. So basically, for me, there's no better tool, and it's also available for Mac and Windows. And the same with the SQLite, by the way, it is available for Mac, Windows, and I see also for Linux. The same with PHP Storm, of course. And alternatively, if you do not want to use PHP Storm, there's the Visual Studio Code, which is a great code editor from Microsoft. You can also download it for Mac, and there are also versions available for Windows and Linux, so it is available everywhere. So it's really a great editor that I highly recommend. Now, let's go back to the software. So this is the PHP Storm. So we have some nice features here, like when you type some of the classes, it automatically adds the import statement for us. So it will automatically import the classes that you will be using and adding these use statements. It also can help you with writing annotations, which, as you can see, we'll be writing a lot. So this is really useful. And you can install all of those tools using settings and the plugins section here. So you can just browse repositories, search for PHP, and there are some plugins that I highly recommend, and those are the Symfony plugin, the PHP annotations. There's also the rainbow brackets. It's very useful because it makes all those brackets and parentheses in different colors, so it's much easier to find which is relating to what. There is also the PHP Composer JSON support, which is pretty nice because it shows you what the version of the certain library you have installed. There are also many other useful plugins, which is the PHP Advanced Autocomplete. You can use it, or something for PHP unit test coverage. So basically those are the two basic plugins that you really have to have, the Symfony plugin and PHP annotations. So those are must-haves. So if you have the PHP Storm, those plugins are free, obviously, so you can install them. Now, if you'd like to just use the free tools, there is this great Visual Studio Code, which you can easily edit PHP inside, but it's of course not as powerful as the PHP Storm. And it also contains a couple of useful extensions that you can install to PHP. For example, there is some IntelliSense plugins, even a debugger or the code sniffer. So I generally recommend the IntelliFans plugin. So you will have the code completion for PHP, but you can also search through all the plugins available by typing PHP or any other thing that you might be using. So for example, there's this PHP doc blocker that will also help you with the doc block annotations. So that would be it about the coding tools. Next, we have the Postman. So it's a great tool for testing your APIs. And the way it works, you will enter the API URL you'd like to test inside this text box, and then you will choose the HTTP method you'd like to use. So get, post, put, and delete would be the most common that you will use. And then we have authorization. So here you can provide the token that our API would generate. So you should choose the bearer token and enter the token here. And if you will press preview request, it will add the correct header to the headers tab. So it will send all those headers. Now, if you will be doing post or put requests, you will be sending the JSON body. So you can do that inside the body tab. And here from this list, you should choose the application JSON and here enter the JSON. Finally, you would like to send these requests, and then on the lower part, you will get a response, including the response body and response headers. So you can open as many tabs as you wish and make those requests in individual tabs. And after you send them, you will also see them on your history. So it will be easy to repeat some of those requests. The next tool that is worth mentioning is the SQLite Studio that we'll be using to see the inside of our SQLite database. Of course, if you prefer to use MySQL, you are free to do that, so you can use different software, but this course is based on the SQLite, so it is easiest for everyone to install the PHP, which comes with the SQLite Studio. It doesn't require, the SQLite database. It doesn't require any server to run, it's just a file. So you can see two tabs on here when you will go inside a table, but first you need to press add database to open a database. So you need to locate the file with those database, and then you see the structure, all the fields and the table schema. And in the next tab there is the data, so you can see what's inside each of those tables, and additionally you can add more rows or delete them. Just mind that when you delete a record, you will need to press commit to confirm what you have just done. So that would be it about the tools that we are gonna use. If you guys have any question, be sure to ask in the Q&A section that is available always on the bottom of each lecture, so you can ask your questions or even give me suggestions.